Welcome to episode 6 of Work Hard, Dream Big with your host, Shelby McGill. Today, my guest, he's a fighter, he's an inspiration, and so much more. Check this podcast out to listen to his story.
Don't make me look back on the things I did, the things I said to the one that deserves more than all that hurt. That I constantly looked at her. My heart cries when I see your smiles faded away. She's gone not to stay, and she's a bird that was laid out of his cage, and the sound of her voice you replace. It's the only noise in my place. It's like I'm in my own doomsday and the outcome's unknown. So break me down, tell the town I'm not real any longer. I'm out my own cloud.
Check out Dustin Chapman's EP now on iTunes. Also, stay tuned to hear later on what we have planned. I cannot wait for you guys to hear this. Thank you so much for listening. Also, thank you, Dustin, for being an inspiration to those in the world. Were you born with this disease?
Well, it's kind of strange because mine didn't set in until I was 17, but I had been experiencing like chest pains from the time I was a small kid. They thought it was like asthma or like acid reflux, something like that. Because it's so rare, they didn't really know, much about this and what to do to test for it. But it turns out that that's actually like an early symptom of it. And so when all of my stuff started progressing, they went back to this. So I probably had it since I was a kid, but I didn't get diagnosed until I was 17.
Is that normal?
No, I honestly don't know. I've actually read that it doesn't, like, most people don't get diagnosed until they're like 40s to 60s, like that age range. So I think I'm actually pretty young considering everything, but I'm not 100% sure on that one.
I did a little bit of research on it. And how do you pronounce it first off?
Achalasia.
Achalasia? Okay. I had that pretty close, so we're good on that. Tell everyone exactly kind of what it does, what it affects.
So it's basically where the esophagus muscles quit functioning. So like your lower esophageal sphincter is like the part of your esophagus that opens up to let food like go down and it closes back up. Like it's supposed to just open when food is going down and close back up so stuff doesn't come back up. But with achalasia, it doesn't relax. So you can try to eat, but it's just going to like build up and eventually come back up, and it causes really bad chest pains and neck pains, and you vomit like anytime you try to eat or drink, pretty much. So I actually lost 50 pounds in a 1-month time span, and I was very, very malnourished to the point that my kidneys were shutting down. So it can affect the whole body, because food's quite important.
Yeah, if you don't have food or water,
yeah,
you kind of need something there to survive.
Yeah.
What do they do for you? I know it's not curable. The disease isn't curable, but they can treat the symptoms, correct?
Yeah. So I had a surgery 3 years ago now called a myotomy, and that's basically where they split the esophagus muscles. And that was supposed to be like a long-term type of surgery, like supposed to alleviate the symptoms for a while, but it worked for me for 18 months, and then all of mine started coming back. And there's another surgery called the poem, which I think is like a similar surgery, but it's less invasive, because that surgery that I just mentioned was an 11-hour surgery on me.
Wow.
Yeah, so I think that one's less invasive, and there's been talks about doing that new surgery, the poem now. So I know there's those two surgeries. Some people, if their symptoms aren't as severe, I think they can get Botox in their esophagus to see if it will like strengthen the muscles. And then like dilations can help a lot too, because that's like, stretching the esophagus, and if it's too narrow, basically. So there's a few things they can do, but it's just temporary. Like there's no permanent fix. So.
What kind of diet are you on right now? Surely they have you on some kind of diet.
Well, I actually, when I was in Duke, they did a dilation, so they just stretched my esophagus.
So you can pretty much eat whatever.
Not really. I'm like just doing like soft foods right now. I was before they released me. They put me back on the feeding tube because I was so malnourished. So I was on the feeding tube for a week or so, getting some nutrients and stuff. But when they did that dilation, they couldn't keep the tube in because of the swelling and stuff. So they're letting me like eat soft things right now to see how that goes. But we don't really know the full extent of how it's working until all the swelling and stuff goes down. So.
Now, you have a video right now on Facebook that's pretty much gone viral.
Yeah, it's gotten out there a little bit, and that was just me wanting to do something for other people, but also for myself, just to lift their spirits because they're suffering, but also my spirits because I was pretty down at the time. And music is very therapeutic for me, and so I just wanted to get to a piano and sing some, and I didn't expect the reaction that it got, but it's been a blessing, and just to see how it's touched people and hear their testimonies and them telling me, just keep fighting because your story is inspiring us and so many others. It's a blessing.
I was reading some of the comments and some of the other people's testimonies. It really brought me to tears because, for me, I've been blessed. Healthy as a horse, you could say.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so to hear those stories, I try not to be bad at this, but I do take things for granted sometimes. And to hear those stories and your story and to see you fighting as hard as you're fighting, it makes me really open my eyes to think, wow, I could do so much more to give back and even, not take things for granted and just be grateful for the things that I have. And so it's pretty cool to hear all those stories and see it go so viral and move people. And to me, couldn't carry a tune in a bucket, but I look to music, and I feel everyone does in some sort of way as therapy. And so it's really cool to see you play the piano, and you can tell just watching you play it, you've got a serious passion for it.
Well, I appreciate that. And music, it's a universal language. It speaks to everybody, no matter what you're going through. Like you said, you can be healthy as a horse and just have great things going on for you, and you can be sick or you can be down. You can go through different circumstances, but music, there's songs that can relate for any emotion and any situation, and it's always there. It's always been there. Like you said, it just speaks to everybody, no matter what. So
it really does. Doesn't matter what kind of genre either. Feels like every genre's got some kind of story behind it. So you were 17 when you were diagnosed with this disease. How old are you now?
I am 21. I just turned 21 this summer.
Well, happy late birthday.
It's been a good 4 years. Oh, thank you.
I turned 21 in January, so.
Oh, okay. So we're the same age.
Yeah, we're not far apart.
That's pretty cool.
Musically, right now, what's going on in your life?
Well, right now I'm just writing as much as possible, and I'm trying to get in a studio to record another EP because I released one last year and it did well. It actually charted on iTunes and stuff, so that was really cool. So I'm wanting to get some new music out there, but I'm also doing some shows here in the Carolinas. So I'm opening up for a guy named Brandon Ray who's really getting big on the country scene. He opened up for Taylor Swift not too long ago, and so I'm opening up for him in Myrtle Beach this month, and I'm also doing my own concert in Sunset Beach, North Carolina, this month as well. So got some good things coming up and trying to get back in the studio. So
you've opened for Brandon Ray before, correct?
I have not. It's my first time opening for him.
Oh, I thought I'd seen something on your Facebook or online or something about it.
I got to perform at the Carolina Country Music Festival. I won a Battle of the Bands contest this summer, and I got to open up for Luke Bryan, Russell Dickerson, Brett Young. They were all there, and I was their opener for today. So it was pretty fun.
What's it like to be around those guys? Do they know your story?
I didn't actually get to meet them. I got to meet Chris Young, and he was super nice. I've got to meet Kane Brown and Lanco and Ray Lynn at an awards event that I was at. They were all super nice. But the only person I've actually got to have a sit-down conversation and talk about my story and all that stuff with Scotty McCreary, I got to sing with him last year. And we actually spent 2 hours together, and he's the most down to earth, humble guy. And
he seems like it.
He told me Yeah, he is. And he told me, he was like, in the music industry, there's so many people that are talented and so many people that got things going for them, but everyone has a story and everything has something that distinguishes them. And he said, what you're going through and your determination, I believe that's what is going to distinguish you in this industry. So he was really nice and really, just encouraging, and gave me like really good tips about, things I should be doing right now at this point in my career. So it was awesome.
I downloaded a few months ago, actually, your EP on iTunes, and it come across to me as more of a gospel country, which I love.
Yeah,
and I think tells your story even more, right? Like just being that guy. That was no pun intended, by the way.
I got you.
I didn't actually mean to do that, but it came out clever, so I'm gonna make it work.
I've always described my sound because I've definitely got like modern country influences in my music, and even traditional country. Like Keith Whitley, he's my number one musical inspiration of all time. But my Christian influences, like growing up in church, singing in church, like contemporary Christian music, has always been like a solid go-to for me when I'm down. When I'm going through something, it's always been there, and that's really played a part into my sound as well. So, I always say it's like a combination of like country with like contemporary Christian and like a little blues. Like, I don't know, it's somewhere in there, but it's pretty cool to hear you say that.
I was telling my family about you, and they like to hear about people I interview, and so I was talking to them about it. And I played that video that went viral on Facebook of you singing the piano. Mm-hmm. And my reaction from my family was, oh my God, he sounds like an angel. And I was like, he really, like, your voice is so smooth, and it doesn't matter, like, what you're singing. You could just be singing all kinds of words, and your voice just is soft on the ears.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate that. I've been working at it for 7 years now. I started training when I was 14 and been going at it ever since. So I really appreciate that.
I'm moved. Congratulations on that. and my family that. And everyone. So what are the treatments like for your disease?
Well, basically my last stay was just getting nutrients, because my blood work was very, like, in multiple ways. My vitamin levels, my phosphorus and magnesium, all that stuff was extremely low. So that's one thing they really have to focus on when I'm in the hospital, is just getting my blood work back up and giving me some energy, because I do get run down pretty easily. Like yesterday, I had a doctor's appointment, for example, just to check up, because it's the first time I've been seen since I got released. And the doctor had a fit because my blood pressure was extremely low. So he told me, he said, I'm not letting you drive for 10 days because you could, like, it's so low that you could pass out while driving, and you need to find a way. He told me to try to eat as much salt as possible, but I'm like, well, I can't really eat. So, but he said that would help bring it up. And he was like, if you don't get it up in the next 10 days, I can make it where you can't go back to school. And I just laughed, and I was like, I don't think that's happening. But it's just basically getting all my levels and stuff right. And then they try to find a way to strengthen my esophagus, but it hasn't really been effective thus far. So we're just waiting it out and seeing what other options they can come up with right now. So
when you say you're going back to school, where are you going to school at?
Mm-hmm. I go to Catawba College in Salisbury, North Carolina, and I'm a music major out there. I'm actually triple majoring in popular music, music business, and worship arts.
So when will you graduate?
It's going to be my senior year this year.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
It's going to be my senior year this year, so I'll graduate in May. So that's why I was like, yeah, no, I'm not. Because when he was like, I can make it where you can't go to school, I was like,
I have to finish. I'm almost there.
Yeah, right. Like, I'm so close. I've done put 3 years into this. So
I got my associates. I just graduated in May of my associates. And I feel like it's been the longest 3 years of my life. I played 2 years of soccer in college.
Oh.
I took an extra year to get my studies all finished, so I didn't want to overload myself with soccer and school. And so just to be on the safe side and do well, I took an extra year. So I just graduated my associates this year.
Well, congratulations.
Well, thanks. I don't know what else I'm going to do with my life. I haven't quite figured it out yet, but I figure
That's
one of
what I'm
these.
saying too. As soon as I graduate, I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I'll find something eventually.
It's hard. It's so hard.
It
There's so
is, I
much to
tell
do.
you.
So much
And
to
people are
do.
like, "What are you gonna do with your degree?" And I'm just like, I
I
don't
don't.
really know yet, but that's what I'm passionate about. So
Yeah. And what if you don't? What if you get a degree in that and you change your mind? You got to go back to school.
for real, it's a never-ending process.
It really is. And so I feel like God's going to just like pick me up and carry me to my dream job one of these days. And so,
Exactly. That you just got to be faithful and trust that He's got a plan that's greater than anything we can imagine, and just see where He leads you.
exactly. I love doing this podcast. If I could find a job talking to people and hearing their stories, I would. I should be a therapist, actually, thinking of that.
That would be awesome. I've actually thought about music therapy, like going to get a master's in that, because
Oh, that would be good.
I don't know. That didn't get me until after my last hospital stay, but once I was like, did that, played at that cancer center and got the reaction that I got, it was just like, wow, like these people, like music could really touch them in ways that are beyond my understanding.
Yeah, and you seem very understanding. You seem very
Mm-hmm.
open-minded and opinionated, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you'd be good at it.
I've
Something
actually
to
been
think about.
applying to places for masters, so
Yeah.
we'll see what happens.
What are your plans after you graduate?
I want to move to Nashville and just go at music full force. Songwriting is like, because everything I have on iTunes and that video I got on Facebook, I wrote every one of those songs. Songwriting is one of my biggest passions. So I'm wanting to do something with that, but singing is my overall my biggest thing. So I don't know. I'm wanting to perform, but I'm just going to go to Nashville and, like I said, just see what happens and trust that God has a plan that's greater than anything I can imagine. So
I'm sure he does. How many people have reached out to you with this viral video?
Oh, I cannot even count. I'm getting messages left and right and comments, and it's like I said earlier, it's been a blessing just to be able to, because it gave me kind of affirmation that this is music is definitely what I'm supposed to be doing. Because you question sometimes, and you're like, I know this is what I'm passionate about and I'm good at it, but is this what I'm supposed to do for the rest of my life?
Exactly.
And then something like this happens, and then God's like, yes, like I got this.
It's a sign.
I've given you this talent for a reason. Yes. So
I agree. It's like last time I checked, it was almost 1,000 comments and
yeah,
got like
it's been
160 something thousand views.
Yeah, it's never. I've never like the most views I've had on anything besides this was like 50,000. So it's really went farther than anything I've ever done before, which is really cool.
It is. The message behind it's even cooler.
Exactly. I agree with that 100%.
This being a rare disease, how many other people have you talked to with the same disease?
I'm in a Facebook group for this disease, and there's quite a few people in it, but I've only met one other person with the disease, and that was actually during my hospital stay. A girl saw the video and she commented on it. And she said, "Hey, I have achalasia, and I'm interning at Duke for speech pathology right now.
I think
What
I've seen
room are
that.
you in? Is it okay if I?" Yeah, and she was like, "Is it okay if I come and see you?" And I said, "Yeah," and she came and visited, and just talking with her, and all of our symptoms were the same, and we've been through similar stuff. Like she had the same surgery I had. It was just nice to have someone that had been through what I'm going through now, and just to see, because she's doing pretty good now. Her surgery was successful, and she's able to eat and stuff. So it gave me hope, and it was nice to just have someone that really related with what I was going through.
What age was she?
I think she was 24.
24.
I want to say she was around the same age. So yeah, she was about to finish her degree in speech pathology, which is really, really cool because that's pretty similar to what it deals with similar area with like the esophagus, and like the vocal cords are right near each other. So it was really cool.
That is cool. Have you told me when we talked a little bit that you wanted to bring awareness to this disease?
Yes.
How so are you
I feel like
going about that?
through my music, and I feel like that is really the main way I'm doing it, because my music has opened a lot of doors for me in terms of news interviews, radio interviews, all that stuff. And I've got to talk about the disease on those platforms. And so that definitely has helped out a lot. But also I've written articles about the disease and posted on websites like the Mighty. I don't know if you've ever heard of that, but it's like a website for like people who are going through different diseases or like cancers or anxiety, like any type of mental disease, health, like rare diseases, anything like that. People can like write articles and, share their experiences and stuff. It's a really cool website, and I've written some articles on there. So I'm just trying my best to get as much exposure for disease as possible because it's so often misdiagnosed. So I just really want people to be more aware of it. So if they're facing similar symptoms, they can get help before it gets chronic. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'm trying my best to like get music on like the national platform, so I can, bring it to a more wide range of people. So
what was the name of the song that you sang at the hospital?
It was called Lead the Way.
How long ago did you write that song?
I wrote that song October of 2017.
Tell me a little bit about that, what that means to you.
I wrote it when I was sick. Obviously, but it was more. Yes, I was sick, but it was more spiritually. I was kind of low at the time too, just dealing with the sickness, and the first line of the song actually didn't get recorded because my mom didn't start recording until after I'd already started. But the first line says, "Give me the words because I can't do this on my own." And that was literally just the first thing that came to my mind. And then as soon as I wrote that down, it's like everything else just flowed out. And I finished that song. And one day, just got the chords came to me. Like, I just started playing around on the piano, and those chords came, and I was like, I like how this sounds. Then I wrote that first line, and then everything else just came. And it was so healing for me just to do that. And it obviously has touched a lot of people as well. So
yeah, a lot of people. The songs on your EP, did you write those songs?
I did. I wrote every one of those as well. And actually, the fourth track on there is called "Set Me Free," and it's another Christian song.
Yeah.
It was 2:00 in the morning, and I was super sick, and I was laying in bed, and the words "Let peace come" came to my mind. That's the words in the bridge. It just says "Let peace come," and then the outro, it says that over and over. It's like a choir singing it. Those three words came to my mind, and I got out of bed at 2:00 in the morning. I went to the music building on campus, and I wrote that song that night. And it's also touched a lot of people as well. So
that's probably my favorite. That's probably my favorite on the EP.
But I think God's really blessed me with a gift of words in that sense of songwriting that can relate. A lot of people can relate to, even though it's like my personal experience. It's put in a way that so many other people can relate to it, which is a really cool thing. It's like we said earlier, music is just universal language that can just touch you in ways that you like never could expect it to, and it's really cool. So.
It is. Even to me, even writing a song, like I sit down sometimes and it helps me to put words on paper. Sometimes when I'm feeling alone or blue or sad or even happy, and to put those words on paper just make me feel better. And I'm not trying to sing them or anything, but I feel like
there's just something about writing things down, because so many times I guess we just keep things bottled up until it gets to like a point where we just can't bottle it up anymore. But it's just like very therapeutic just to sit down, write how you're feeling out, and just be it kind of and let it out, and it can help you a lot, even if it's
very therapeutic and safe.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it's a very safe place to just write your feelings, your words. Nobody doesn't have to see them, so you're safe.
Exactly.
How long was your last visit in the hospital?
I wound up being in there for 11 days, so pretty close to 2 weeks.
Does that happen often?
That's actually the first time I had been hospitalized since that surgery I was telling you about.
What caused you to be hospitalized?
Just the fact that I was so dehydrated and malnourished. It had gotten to the point where when I tried to stand, my vision blacked out, and I was basically almost fainting. And my heart rate I'm bradycardiac as it is, so like I have a really slow heart rate, but it had gotten down into the 30s, and they were pretty concerned, so they admitted me and wound up staying 11 days. Yeah. And that's actually my first time ever going to Duke. I was a senior in high school, and we didn't know what was going on because we had went to so many doctors around my hometown, and everyone was like, we don't know what to tell you. Like, we don't know why you can't eat. Because every time I tried to eat, I throw it up automatically, and it got to the point where I couldn't drink water. And so they were testing me for all types of stuff, and no one could, like, put a finger on what was going on. So one day I was actually at a music event with my high school, about an hour away from home, and my parents had drove to see the final performance, and my course teacher went up to my mom that day, and she was like, you need to get him somewhere, there's something really wrong. And my mom knew it, you know, she already knew, but like just hearing those words from someone that only sees me a certain amount of time a day, and they, you know, they could see it, that really put it in perspective for her, and she was like, it's time to do something. So as soon as we finished that performance, my mom put me in the car, and we drove to Duke, which was about a 4-hour drive, because that's the number one hospital in North Carolina from what we've been told. So we went there, and as soon as the nurses and stuff saw me at the ER, they automatically took me back, and they told us that my kidneys were shutting down. Like, if I wouldn't have got there sooner, it would have been really bad. So that first day, I actually stayed longer than this recent stay. But this was definitely like my second longest hospitalization. So
I feel like I'm going to try and put this disease in my perspective. You know when you stub your pinky toe on a table?
Yes.
And you don't realize how much weight or function you put into your pinky toe until it's broken?
Yeah.
I feel like this is kind of the same thing. You don't realize how much your body needs food and nutrition, and just how much your body does to digest it, that when you can't, it really takes a big toll on you.
It does, and it's crazy because your body, it needs it, but I never realized how vital it was for like socialization. Because now that I'm in college and I hadn't been able to eat and drink like a normal person, like my friends all the time, like, let's get together and go out to eat and stuff. And I'll go, but I just sit there, and then they feel bad, and I'm just like, no, it's fine. But it's really like the foundation of socialization in a way. And that can take a toll on you in many ways that people don't realize. And then, like the physical aspect of it as well. Like I said earlier, I lost 50 pounds in 9 months, and I was really sick. I was down to like 130 pounds.
From the pictures and videos I've seen, you're not a guy that looks like you need to lose any weight at all. So 50 pounds probably was a huge toll on you. What's schedule like when it comes to eating? So like, do you have 3 meals a day like a normal person should?
No, I do not. I think my body's kind of accustomed to not eating away, so I don't really get hungry anymore. So I kind of have to force myself. But see, the pain is so bad too that I probably don't try as often as I should. But I probably try to eat about 1 meal a day. But I probably don't even intake enough to say that even counts, to be honest. So I've had to do for months like insures and boosts and all that stuff,
Mm-hmm.
But that's why they are currently talking about like surgically putting a feed tube in my stomach, like a permanent one. But we're just kind of waiting to see how my esophagus is going to react to this dilation that they did at Duke. So it's kind of just a waiting game right now.
How long ago was your stay at Duke?
I just got home last week.
Oh, okay.
So they said it could take a couple of weeks for the swelling to go down, and because they said they told my mom that they stretched it as far as they possibly could without perforating it. So it's I would imagine it's pretty swollen right now. So they said it's going to take it a couple of weeks to return back to normal, is what they said. So
how is your parents and stuff taking this?
My parents?
Yeah.
It's hard, especially on my mom, because she's the one that goes with me to every doctor's appointment, and but even worse on them when I'm not at home because I'm gone to school 9 months out of the year because I go to school 4 hours away from home. So she worries about me a lot, and she calls me probably multiple times a day to check in on me and see how I'm doing and stuff. But it's definitely hard on them, and it's taking its toll on them. But they're the strongest people I know in many ways. So
I'm sure that it is just as hard for them to see you go through it as it is for you to go through it.
yeah, my mom has actually said that multiple times. She was like, I understand that it's hard on you, but as a mother, like seeing your child sick and not being able to do anything about it, I think she said that it was definitely the hardest thing she's ever had to go through. Like,
Is this hereditary in your family? It's rare, I know, but is there any kind of sign that gives the doctors that you possibly could have had this disease?
no, I'm the first person that ever really in my family that had any like esophageal issues at all. Like no one has ever had anything wrong in that sense. So it's quite interesting, I guess, because I am the first one, and they don't know like what causes it. There's many theories that it's like an autoimmune type of thing. So like I've had a doctor say one time that they thought that maybe like a virus that you caught when you were younger, like onset it somehow or something, but they don't really know at this point, and that's why I'm really trying to push for like awareness, kind of, because the more that people know about it, the more research is going to be done, and like
Something's going to be done about it.
Yeah, like eventually a cure might even be found, So
it's so crazy to me that doctors, like, for example, back in the day, what did people do when there was no doctors?
That is true. I've never even thought about that.
Like, did people have these diseases and nobody knew about it? So everyone just lived their life until they... I know our lifespan now is greater than it was then because of doctors, but, I mean, I would like...
it has to. That had to be the case, wouldn't you think? Like,
it would. Nobody will know until we walk the gates one day. Maybe we'll find out then.
That's
Who knows?
Mind blowing. I've never even thought about that.
I'm one of those people that I want to know why on everything, and there's not always an answer why.
I definitely get where you're coming from with that one.
There is not always an answer why,
and that can be pretty hard, because everyone wants to know. Like everyone wants to know what's going on and why something happens. But like you said, that's not like there's some things that we'll probably never know until we get up there and we get an answer, in that fashion, but we won't know down here. So
this just came to me. I always ask why bad things happen to good people. But the more I think about it, for your example, this disease has probably carved you into a lot of the person you are today and the reason why you think the way that you think. So in some cases, it makes sense why bad things happen to good people is because
it kind of turns them into good people in a way, I guess.
Exactly, for those that maybe aren't good people.
And it's crazy because I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy, But sometimes I do look at the things people are doing, and I'm like, I've never been a person to go out and party and go out and drink and do like anything like that. I've just never been that type of person. I've always been, I go to church, do what my parents say. I'm home pretty much most of the time. I've just been that type of person my whole life, and I always used to think, well, I've never really done anything. Why is this happening to me when all of these other people, are doing all this stuff? But like you said, it's the things that we go through that turns us into the people we are. I like your perspective on that.
There was a wreck a couple days ago, actually yesterday, just right down the street from my house, a head-on collision, and both drivers died. And it made me think, I drive that route every single day on my way home. So it's like, why? They may have been great people. They may have been terrible people. I don't know. But that just made me think, why, that could have been me. Who knows? I mean, that could have been anyone in my family that drives the same route I do every day. It's just so crazy. So much to life, and yet not enough to just grasp it all and take it all in.
That's true. But there's a purpose, Everything, there's old saying, everything happens for a reason, and I truly believe that, and I truly believe, it's it sucks, but there's a reason behind my sickness, and I've touched many people in a way that I probably never would have if I wasn't sick, you know. And I don't want to be sick in no fashion, but I am, and I'm using it to the best of my ability to minister to others and help them who are going through their own struggles. And this, you know, I wouldn't be able to reach the people that I have if it wasn't for the sickness. So I am thankful for that I've been able to use it in a positive way and not, you know, just soak in it and feel bad for myself, you know, because, you know, that does happen, you know. So
it's a blessing in disguise, honestly. Mm-hmm. As much as you can make of it, I feel like, to me, I struggle to find my purpose in life. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I've been doing this podcast and trying to do something great with it because I think the world is a darker place and it is brighter. Mm-hmm. And so I want to reach out to people like you and other people and tell their stories to hopefully brighten up one more person tomorrow, you know?
And that's pretty special right there, you know?
Your purpose can be walking in a convenience store and putting a smile on somebody's face. That could be your purpose.
The way you carry yourself and things you do in this life and positively impact others, you know, that defines you more than any sickness, any negative attribute you think you have. You know, the way you carry yourself and the way you impact others is more of a purpose than anything else of this life, I guess.
More people are watching than you think.
Exactly.
Way more people are paying attention to the little things that you do than you think. Before we hang up, do you have anything else for me?
No, I think we covered a good bit.
Anything you might have wanted to add that I forgot to ask you or we passed by? You're going to hang up and you're going to be like, oh, dang. I wanted to say that.
I'm trying to think so hard right now, but nothing is really coming to my mind. We can just throw in because a lot of people have messaged me asking me if I have like a professional recording of that song that I did, that the Lead the Way. So we could just say, you know, for anyone that's wondering, that song is in the process of being recorded and it should be released in the next couple of months, and they can keep a tab on my music page on Facebook, Dustin Chapman Music, and they'll be able to, you know, just keep an update on it and see like the process and when it will actually be released.
If anyone wants to keep tabs there, Dustin Chapman.
Yeah, definitely. Yep.
I advise people to listen to his music. It's speechless. Let's just say that. Speechless.
Thank you so much.
Well, I'm going to let you get off here. We've been on the phone now for over an hour, so I'm sure you're tired of listening to me talk. But
no, thank you so much for everything and doing this. And I've really enjoyed this. It's my first podcast I've ever done, so I'm really looking forward to hearing it, and I'm going to share the mess out of it. So.
Well, I cannot wait for what's to come with you and big things that we might be doing.
That sounds great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Thank you for getting with me and doing this.
No, I really appreciate this. It's been awesome.
I had a lot of fun doing it. I hope people like listening to it. This concludes episode 6 of Work Hard, Dream Big with your host, Shelby McGill. I want to thank everyone for listening. I want to thank Dustin for being such an inspiration. And stay tuned for a big surprise.
And I'm on my knees for the first time since I can remember when. Just looking for some answers, 'cause I ain't not knowing what to do. But you're a God of grace and truth, so I'm laying it down at your feet, Holy Father.